I'm curious your thoughts on the tush push. Should it be banned?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? I mean, it's obviously very interesting. I would tell you that I agree with everything that Nick Sirianni said, that they work really hard at it. They've developed it. One thing about stealing plays from other teams, and we all do it. Everybody looks at a play that somebody runs and goes, wow, we really like that. We're going to take that play and we're going to make it part of our offense. Um, but the issue is that when you do that, you don't necessarily know the nuance that's involved in actually running that play and running that play at a high level. So I'm 100% with Nick Sirianni that they have established it. They have busted their ass to make it work. They are better at that play than anybody else. But here's my issue with the tush push and why I think it should be banned. And I'm an offensive guy, so a lot of people always look at me and go, "What are you talking about? You can't do it on the defensive side." I was a member of the Washington Redskins back in the day where we would be on PAT field goal block and we would actually line up. We had a guy by the name of Mike Tyson, great tight end in the league for a long time. Mike Tice, not Tyson, but Tice, great tight end. So Mike was a 6'7" guy. I would line up behind him on PAT field goal block. We'd get in the A gap, and my job was to shove him through the A gap in hopes that he might block the extra point or the field goal. And the NFL banned that. So I would tell you if you lined up on the defensive side of the ball with linebackers sitting behind defensive tackles and linebackers shoving defensive tackles through the line of scrimmage, I think that's illegal. You can't do it. So why is it okay for the offensive side of the ball to be able to do that, but the defensive or special team side of the ball can't do it? It's illegal. So if player safety is really the concern, and you're putting two or three guys at the point of attack, shoving one guy through, shouldn't that be if what's good for the goose is good for the gander? If you can't do it on the defensive side of the ball, why is it allowed on the offensive side of the ball?
And you know what's interesting about you saying that, and I'm curious from your perspective as a guy who played in the trenches. I was watching Ken Tula, one of our great producers, sent me the piece that Kyle Brandt did with Neil deGrasse Tyson, the physicist, about the tush push. And he basically said, as you mentioned, that it's not defensible, and it's because of physics. And it's because all the defenders are flying in the air, which means they don't have any momentum. All the guys that are pushing from behind are using the force of the earth. I mean, this is really next level stuff to
Sure.
push Jalen forward. Now, Sean McDermott employs the tush push, second most to the Eagles, and he's on the competition committee, and he's saying it should get banned, potentially. So if the defense can't defend it, it's going to be six. So is it a football play or is it not a football play?
No, see that therein lies. There's a juxtaposition here because it is something that's worked on. It is something that they created. It is something that they run better than anybody else because they developed it. So they know the nuance. I always say I didn't learn what I didn't like in the National Football League till I got my ass kicked doing something. And then I was like, oh, you know what? That's a really bad idea. I need to change that technique. They've been through those things. The other thing is, if you implement that in the beginning of the season, when do you ever get to practice that? When do you ever line up in live drills and work on that? Like they have established it, they've perfected it, they have worked on it, and I'll give them all the credit in the world for creating the play, and it's awesome. But just the picture that you're showing right now, you see the defensive linebacker flying through the air. He is not, there's no ground force there. He is not grounded. So as that pile gets pushed, he's just going to get pushed with the pile. So yeah, it becomes one of those situations again. If it's about player safety, and if I line up on the defensive side and I have somebody shoving a defensive tackle through there and a quarterback gets hurt, guess what the league will do? They'll ban it. And this is a problem that's endemic in the National Football League in general is all the rules are bent towards offensive success,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they're all bent toward the offense doing things. And like if this would have been something like I said, it used to be a very prevalent thing on special teams, PAT field goal, and they deemed it too dangerous to keep using because it gave you an unfair advantage of shoving people through the line of scrimmage, right? So if it was deemed too dangerous and potentially harmful from a safety concern, why is it okay now for the offense to be able to do that if the defense and special teams can't do it?
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S. Search Rich Eisen Show on your Roku device for daily replays.